Hello everyone, Nick here again, your humble peddler of spicy but civil X-Wing content. For those of you who have been living under a rock, or more accurately inside of a space rock, inside of a space worm while you're being chased by the Imperial Armada, AMG announced that they are dropping development on X-Wing and Armada. Yes, that's right, apparently AMG were developing Armada, who knew? But in all seriousness, yes, I've already spoken at length about my feelings of AMG's custodianship of the game of X-Wing. Spoiler alert, it's not good. If you want to see that video up here in the corner, there should be a little link popping up. I think YouTube still lets me do that. I haven't made videos in a while. Sorry if that doesn't work. I'll have all of the relevant stuff I'm talking about down in the comments below. But in this video, I wanted to have a chat about the community's response to this whole situation, because I wanted to really focus on this and sort of drive home the positives that have come out over the last week. Because indeed, it is quite positive overall. Not that there aren't negatives, and I will talk about that as well. But in terms of the community response, I'm actually more confident about this game than I have been in years. It's a sad irony when the developer manufacturer of a game drops support and suddenly, oh great, the game's in hands of people who actually care about the game. Sorry, not sorry, AMG. Hello again, future Nick here once again to say, past Nick once again recorded a half-hour-long YouTube video and didn't mention that his Discord server is free to use. Frankly, I don't think he's cut out for this whole YouTube thing. And anyway, for those interested, please come and hang out on my Discord server. Having a great old time just yammering about the game. It's a bit of a hodgepodge of all the different subjects going on. As you can imagine, lots to discuss right now. But the main thing is I want to discuss what I'm doing with the channel and the future of that. So if you want to be involved with that discussion and X-Wing in general, head to the link in the description and come hang out. So that's what we're talking about this week. Basically the day of the whole situation, when AMG made this announcement here, we had everyone's sort of raw response. A few content creators like Crabbok and Sith Takers, you know, made their videos, their podcasts, whatever, talk about it. It was a little raw. I think to a certain extent that was quite cathartic. I didn't make my own content on it for a few days. I wanted to sort of let it settle and, you know, see how everyone thought about it and have that chat a bit later on. And I think my video benefited from that. Not that I'm taking away from those who are a bit spicier than myself. I think these things had to be said, and at the end of the day, X-Wing means so much to so many of us for a lot of different reasons, not just because it's a game, but because it makes this great community that we've been a part of. Just by virtue of existing and being maintained, it facilitates our ability to get together and bond over something as cool as a tabletop game. May seem insignificant to some, but I would not agree. I think this game has done a lot beyond just being a great tabletop game. So yes, first of all, I think it's worth bringing up this right here, which is a statement from what's being called the X-Wing Alliance, a group of content creators, tournament organizers, pro players, and leaders and custodians of community-led X-Wing projects. Basically, this is a group of individuals that will be sort of fostering and continuing on organized play, as well as sort of creating a unified rule set for the game moving forward. Now, very early days, before we get into anything else, no, we don't have any kind of idea about what the rule set's going to be moving forward. And we don't know what organized play is going to look like for now. Remember that AMG and Asmodee are still supporting the game in terms of organized play up to Adepticon 2025 for Worlds. Possibly beyond that, the messaging was a bit unclear, but I think we can all pretty safely assume that won't be the case. So it's very unlikely that there'll be any official changes to the game before that. And I think it is important to say this. There's a few key points I want to get across, and one of them is, if you still want to support this game and you still want to get involved with the community, even if you're annoyed at AMG, it's still worth engaging with organized play. Don't go and give them an earful. Just go and play the game. Have fun. It's awesome, even though organized play is still under AMG, and we may not agree with what's happened for various reasons that I've already discussed. The second thing is, and I think this is the most important point I want to sort of push forward, the most important message I want to get through on this channel. I think a call for unity is going to be the most important thing going forward. One of the big challenges X-Wing has moving into a state where it's not being supported by a manufacturer. By the way, several games have survived in this state before. Netrunner, Blood Bowl, just to name a few. One of the big challenges that X-Wing has is we have a fractured community due to what happened with the rule set. It's gone through 2 major rule changes, and there was a bit of an exodus during the 2nd edition, as in when we went from 1st to 2nd and we had to buy, more game components to be able to play with the ships we already had. That really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And also from 2nd edition to 2.5. Not that those are different editions. If there's any new players watching, I really don't like that we've called it 2.0 and 2.5 because it's caused so much confusion. Every day I see people on social media asking, where do I find the 2.5 starter set? There is no 2.5 starter set. You can buy the pack of Rebel ships and Imperial ships that AMG bought out recently, which has the new rule set in them, but you just get the 2nd edition starter set. I've lost my train of thought. Sorry, ADHD. But moving forward, doing our best to create a unified front is going to be the best way to help this game survive. And I say that not targeting any particular group. I know that there's the factions of people that want, 2.5 as is, 2.0 as was, a mix of both. I like this rule, I like that rule. It seems like every post on social media about the future of X-Wing is just filled with people who are absolutely saying, the game needs to do this and this and this and have this rule set. Look, it is worth having those conversations. I get it. And if you're engaging with that in an honest way and actually open to having critical conversations and not putting yourself in a position where you're basically going to throw your toys out of the pram the second that they announce that they're not going to do the rule set that you want with the exact permutations that you want, great. Those are conversations we have, but I do see a lot of people priming themselves for disappointment. A lot of people saying, if they don't do X, I'm leaving. If they don't do X, there's no point continuing. And I want to stress the point, even if you agree with me on the rule set I want, which I will not be stating in this video, you might be able to work it out if you see my previous content, but that behavior, that attitude isn't going to help us. It's borderline toxic, if I'm to be honest. The fundamental way that the rule set has changed, the ethos behind the design, had a major shift from 2.0 to 2.5, and a lot of people got some very strong opinions off the back of that. I don't think engaging with the rule set that you want to play and actively promoting it and playing it is a bad thing unto itself. I'm not saying that at all. And it's also worth remembering that no matter what the X-Wing Alliance says they want to do as a community-led organised play moving forward, they're not taking away your ability to play that rule set. Indeed, you can still engage with your own local communities, go to your local game store, talk with your local groups. If they want to play your rule set, then play it. No one's stopping you from doing that. In actual fact, that's one of the great things about having AMG drop support is we have this kind of freedom. And I think a dogmatic approach to any one kind of rule set isn't going to satisfy everyone. And I think it's okay that you can still engage with the rule set you want to play, even if it's not being supported by this community organised play. But at the same time, I think we all have to remain open-minded, remain open to hearing criticism, hear different opinions, because the reality is there's a very good reason to revert to a 2.0 rule set within the future of X-Wing, and there's a very good reason to go to a 2.5 rule set. I'm going to discuss both of those in future videos, but essentially what I'm saying is appreciate that different people within the community have different opinions. That's okay. Beyond that, it's actually a fantastic thing. There's been a lot of different kinds of development put into this game, not just because of the change of companies, but the needs of those companies sort of to adapt to their player base. And I think offering all these kinds of things is a net positive overall. With that in mind, I want to talk more about the various projects, community-led efforts, and sort of focus on the positives for the rest of this video and actually sort of champion this whole movement, because I think what the X-Wing Alliance is doing is a very, very positive thing. And no matter how you might feel about the individuals on this list, I do want to point out something very, very important. The people here have engaged with the game for the last few years. A lot of people criticizing them have not. At the end of the day, being a champion for this game, it's something that I was criticizing AMG for in the last video. championing this game and doing it consistently over times when it may not be moving in the direction you want it to be. Being a champion of this community is a core thing that's very important for this going forward. And I see these names on here, and I recognize some of them as people that I see commenting on the channel a lot. There's some pro players here that I see consistently placing in high-level tournaments. We have, for example, Paul Heaver, a gentleman who's been winning world tournaments since 1.0. It's funny, I look at the word Paul Heaver and my brain wants to say Corin Horn. We've also got various content creators here. Probably most notably, we have 3 of the 4 members of Gold Squadron podcast. They've been involved with making solid content on this game, actually streaming tournaments, being involved with that, actually sort of really being a squad of cheerleaders, if I can say that. Their contribution for this game has arguably been better than AMG's over the past few years, and I really want to shout out their efforts. It's great to be seeing them here. If you haven't already watched it, watch the podcast episode they did talking about the AMG announcement. Specifically, listen to what Dion's saying. He's largely saying things I'm saying in terms of a call for unity and that kind of thing, but their overall take on the situation and their overall call for what we should be doing in the future, I think is just very, very positive and wholesome, and I'm a very big fan of what they're doing at the moment. Other names of note, we have Jim Bob from Infinite Arenas, a very, very useful X-Wing tool. I'll be talking about that a bit more later on the channel, as well as Stephen Kim, who's been involved with yet another squad builder. Again, a great tool for the game. It's basically the best squad builder we've had forever. It's been around since before I started playing the game, so like halfway through 1.0. Really love the site as an X-Wing tool, and it's also gone through several permutations, basically following all the major rule sets of the game, as well as offering squad building for the Legacy Project, which is a group involved with maintaining 2.0 and making sort of balancing decisions for newer content and that kind of thing, as well as Eric, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, involved with the Unified TTS mod. Another great tool. Basically, it is the way to play X-Wing Online. Andre from Launch Bay Next. A bunch of community players as well. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with everyone here. A couple of the boys from Sith Takers. Liam, if you're watching, loved your salt on the last podcast. It was very, very nice. I mean that in the most affectionate way possible, of course. Nick Sperry from 312 Squadron. How you going, mate? Recently said hi to you for the first time on our Discord, which was lovely. Catherine Nixera, a long-time commenter on my channel. This initial release doesn't actually have your involvement. Catherine, if you're watching, please let us know how you got involved with this. I'm very, very curious to learn. And I just want to say as well, I don't know everyone on this list. I know a few of these people. I've spoken to them, and just in terms of what I can glean about the X-Wing Alliance for now, it does seem like a very positive endeavor based on those reaction. Again, just to remind you guys, it's early days. We're not going to be talking about a rule set before 2025 Adepticon. We're not going to be talking about rebalancing before that either. We don't know if AMG are planning on doing another rebalance. I think we have to iron out those kind of details. But for the time being, we have a sort of long lead up into a point where this group actually has to give us a rule set and balancing and all that kind of stuff. So focusing on that and sort of really sort of getting your hopes up on anything right now probably isn't the best thing for us to be doing with our time. I think for the time being, just being advocates of the game and following the early stages of the development with the X-Wing Alliance is really all we can be doing, and that's pretty much just it. Just a few other things as well. I do want to talk about these various community-led projects. Obviously, I just mentioned before Jim Bob and Infinite Arenas, an excellent resource and card database for the game. Very, very important right now, because as development and stock starts to dry up for the game, we need access to these resources so we can keep playing. Also, some interesting stuff on this website, including sort of like decks of quick build cards and other various resources that sort of help us play and engage with the game with more ease and in different ways. Again, more on that later. I also want to quickly shout out Heroes of the Oturi Cluster, or HOTAC as I'll be referring to from this point on. The developer Sean Tiernan posting on their Facebook page talking about how this announcement basically is not even a speed bump for the stuff they're doing. They are still going to be supporting this version of the game for a long time to come. Again, I'll be talking about more of this in future content, but essentially, if you're not aware, Heroes of the Aturi Cluster is essentially an alternate play style where you play against like a DM CPU kind of player. It is a cooperative game style, and you work together and actually build up your characters over a series of games. Kind of like a tabletop RPG. Kind of. No, doesn't quite involve all the same things, but in some ways scratches a very similar itch. It's something that I'm very curious to get into myself and talk about more on the channel. So again, more of it to come later on. I also wanted to give a big shout out to the various Discord servers who support their own various rule sets. We do have the official X-Wing, what's it called? The 2.5 server, which is basically the Discord server for organized play at this stage in time. And after World 2025, I imagine they'll still be there supporting their format, whether that's the official format or not. Or I'm not as familiar with that particular Discord server as others. So, hey, if any of you are here, please drop in the comments. What are things like in that server right now? What are things like in that space? I'd really like to actually be more engaged with those players who play 2.5, who are really into it competitively, and have a chat about those things. Again, I don't want to sort of move forward and be stubborn and only talk about the game style I like. I think what's important for my channel and my content moving forward is to sort of be a bit of a cheerleader for all of these different endeavors and really do my part to promote unity. The other server as well I want to chat to about is the Legacy 2.0 server. This is helmed by a group of individuals who basically took the Legacy format or the 2.0 format of the game. When AMG decided to push forward with 2.5, they wanted to basically preserve that older style of game and develop it forward with continued balancing, and also provide points for ships that were never released under the 2.0 structure. And they've also been working on some minor rules tweaks as well as a more casual sort of scenario-based format called Wild Space, which is really, really interesting. Again, I will speak more about that in future videos, but their commitment to sort of maintaining this part of the community and pushing forward, like a lot of the X-Wing servers, they've really been blowing up over the past week, so it's great to see that. And I just want to point out as well, the Legacy project is not anything new. It came off the back of that 2.5 announcement. And I remember back when that happened and just watching the community response, there was a lot of toxicity that came out of the community. And I'm not scared of saying that. I frankly think a lot of the way people were acting was abysmal. There were instances where people were basically posting pictures of their X-Wing collection in the trash can while they're playing different games at their local gaming store, which I kind of thought was just monumentally unhelpful and frankly really toxic. If you're engaging with a game like X-Wing and you go through a situation like that and all you want to do is show to the world how apathetic you are, look how much I hate this game, I have to ask you, why are you even involved with this game to begin with? Why are you even engaging with the community? It was just really toxic time for the game. And when I saw things like the Legacy project come into fruition, my response to that was, great. This is a positive thing you can do with that energy. You can still play this older rule set. You can curate this older rule set if you want. And hey, even if you want to play 2.0 now and you don't necessarily agree with what the Legacy project's done in terms of their balancing and rules changes, 2.0 still exists. Those documents are still available via FFG's website, and at the end of the day, play the game you want to play. No one's stopping you from doing it. Nobody is coming into your house and taking your miniatures away. And I just want to really voice my support for those kinds of things. Remember, at the end of the day, these groups aren't necessarily there to take away the rule set that you want to play. They're there to foster the one they do want to play. And that's only a positive thing. So yes, that's what I wanted to discuss in this video. I'll keep an eye on things as they develop. In the meantime, I want to actually have a chat about the various rule sets and talk about their various advantages and promote these communities and promote these endeavors, because I think it's an important thing for the game moving forward. No matter what happens with the X-Wing Alliance, I really want to drive home this point. Unity is the way we move forward and we foster a positive, fun game for everyone involved and new players. Discord is the way that fails. Pure and simple. If you're one of these detractors in the community, if you're one of the people basically setting yourself up for disappointment by crossing your arms, throwing your toys out of the pram because people don't want to play the format that you want to play, you're not helping. You're just not helping. And for those of you who are fostering their own rule set, providing positivity, actually providing a way for people to play this game, and being open to talk with differing opinions about the rule set, thank you. You are the ones that are going to help. That is the attitude we need to move forward with. Pure and simple. Thank you for watching.